Hi guys. So in this video, I'm going to go over my updated budget for 2024. It's going to help me and my family get out of our remaining $125,599 worth of debt. I also purchased a new budgeting app called Fleur to help me in this process, and I'll give you my honest thoughts on that as well. So one of the very first videos that I made when I started my YouTube channel was a budgeting video. I went over what my budget was around like last summer. So since then, my income has slightly changed, decreased. And my husband and I have been embarking on alternating between no-buy and low-buy months this year. So with that, we've tried to simplify some of our finances and expenses as well. And so these two factors have necessitated a revision of my budget. So before I get into it, I do want to say, I've said it before, but my husband and I do have separate finances. We have our own accounts except for our house mortgage. So we each have our own budgets where we budget money for food, gas, buying stuff for the baby. We kind of split those, those expenses. And then I pay for certain utilities, he pays for other ones. And in the end, it kind of shakes out fairly even. We may decide to combine all of our finances in the future, but for now, this works for us. But I'm mentioning this because, when I get into things like how much money I have budgeted for food, don't think that that is all the money that we have for a household of 4 people per month for food. That's really just like half of our money expenses. That's just what I personally have budgeted for food. I hope that makes sense. So last year when I made my first budgeting video, at the time my household expenses totaled $3,505 per month. So when I made that video last year, there were a lot of opportunities for me to work a little bit extra to make a little bit more money. I work Saturdays and Sundays, 12-hour shifts as a registered nurse in a PACU department. PACU stands for Post-Anesthesia Care Unit. I mentioned in that original budgeting video that, in addition to working those 2 days per week, I could also frequently pick up night call. And so what call is, basically you are at home, you get paid like a small base rate just to stay at home. But then if you get called in, like if there's an emergency surgery overnight and you have to come in to recover that, you end up getting paid time and a half. So your normal hourly rate plus half of your hourly rate for each hour. And then with these shifts, because they were kind of harder to staff, a lot of times they were offering bonus along with your time and a half or, your base rate for sitting at home. So usually I was able to pick up like 1 to 2 of those overnight call shifts a month, sometimes even more than that. So last year when I was doing these 1 to 3 nighttime call shifts per month plus my 2 days per week, my monthly take-home pay was usually between $3,600 and $5,000 per month. And that just depended on how many hours I actually ended up working. Like if I didn't get called in at all for a call shift, I would just get paid that small base rate to stay home. But if I got called in, obviously I would make a lot more money. And then if bonus was attached to it, that affected things as well. But then towards the end of 2023 and now into 2024, those overnight call shifts have pretty much completely dried up. We've gotten more staff in our department, and so they're way less desperate for people to pick up those overnight shifts. So now I am forced to budget strictly based on my take-home pay for the Saturday and Sunday that I work each week. So my current monthly take-home pay, and that's after health benefits are taken out, it's after my retirement contributions are taken out, my employee stock contributions taken out, and then Medicare and Social Security, ends up being $3,500 a month. And that's it. It really doesn't go up from there. So my monthly expenses are as follows. We ended up getting solar towards the end of last year. And so our solar loan is $87 a month. And I pay for that because the solar loan is in my name. I have my car payment and that is $450 a month. Our electricity and gas is roughly $110 a month. That's mostly gas during the winter months. So in the summer when solar kind of takes, over a little bit, it ends up being a lot cheaper than that. But for now, just to be on the safe side, I'm budgeting $110. I have a Bank of America credit card, and that is $105 for the minimum each month. Our house mortgage, we split, and so I end up paying $1,200 towards that each month. I have a Wells Fargo credit card, and the minimum on that is $130. I pay for our phone bill, and it's a little pricey right now. It is $292 per month, but that is largely because when I started this YouTube channel, I bought a new iPhone so that I could use it to film, and then I also bought an iPad so that I could edit my videos on that, and so they're both being financed through Verizon, and that is why it's such a high bill. We own some land that eventually we want to build something on when we retire, and so the mortgage on that piece of property, the minimum is $160 per month. I have a Citi card, credit card, and the minimum on that is $140 a month. I do 2 therapy sessions per month, and after insurance, it ends up being $63.66 per month. And then I have 2 different sinking funds. One is a joint sinking fund with my husband where we put money in for shared expenses. So we have property taxes on the land, and typically it's been going up because the value of the lands have been going up. This year it's $2,000, and that's what it was last year as well. So $2,000 for property taxes. There's 2 different HOAs on our land, and together that's $1,000 a year. And then the tags for our trailer. Last year it was about $500, so that's what I have budgeted for this year. I haven't gotten the statement yet, but I mean, hopefully it'll be a little bit less than that. So adding up those expenses together and then dividing that by 12 months and then dividing that by 2 people, we each end up paying $146 towards our combined sinking funds. Then I have a personal sinking fund. The items that I pay for out of my personal sinking funds are my car insurance premiums, which every 6 months, my car insurance premium is $489. So twice a year, that comes to $978. The tags for my car this last year, or in February, they were $210. So it's an older car, it's a 2018, so they keep getting cheaper each year, but I'm still gonna budget, the same amount that I did what they cost this past February, just to be on the safe side. I purchase nursing malpractice insurance, like private insurance every year. I have since I've been a nurse. The premium for that per year is $141. And then I pay for our trash bill. That's typically every 3 months. We'll get a statement from Waste Management, and usually it's around $115. So $115 times 4 is $460. So when I add up all of those expenses and then I divide them by 12, the amount that I have to put into my personal sinking fund per month is $150. And then we have a Prime account. I pay for that, and it comes to $16.14 per month. I have a Spotify account. My husband and I, that's the one thing we haven't done yet. We're gonna combine our accounts. It's a little bit cheaper, but right now I have a separate one, and it costs $11.51 per month. I pay for extra Apple iCloud storage because of how much footage I end up shooting, and that costs me $3 per month. I have a subscription to the little brokerage account app called Stash, and it's more just kind of like a fun little thing that I like to do. So the subscription fee is $3 a month, and then right now I'm only putting in like $5 a week, so $23 a month. The $20, I mean, technically that's an expense, but it is going into a brokerage account. So, I mean, it's kind of like paying myself. It's not, a big deal, really. Just the $3 fee is, what is going out that I'm not getting back. One day, maybe we'll put a lot more money into it, but right now it's just kind of like a hobby almost. And then my food budget, my portion of it for the household is $200 a month, and that includes everything. So, I mean, during no-buy months, that's strictly just groceries. During low-buy months, whatever I spend on, my 2 coffees out a month, my to dinners out a month, that comes from that same food budget, that $200. And then gas, my budget is $100. And then I have a subscription to something called Privacy Assist. It's like LifeLock, like one of those kind of things where it monitors your social security number and your emails and all of your bank account numbers, and alerts you if anything changes or new, accounts pop up or there's suspicious activity. So that cost me $13 a month. And then we also have to pay insurance on the trailer, our travel trailer, even though it's parked right now. It still costs $85 to insure it, while it's parked at a storage facility. So I pay for that as well. So my total expenses are $3,485.31 per month. So you can see at the moment, my budget is pretty tight. There's really not a lot of wiggle room for debt snowballing, but I'm going to be paying off my car pretty soon this year, and that will free up an extra $450 per month that will go towards debt snowballing. So that's pretty exciting. So I've used the budgeting app Mint for a couple years in the past, and there were things I liked about it and things I didn't like about it. So when I decided to revamp my budget, I started looking for new budgeting apps just to kind of see what was out there, and I stumbled across Fleur. And as I mentioned in my last video, what initially drew me to it was just really cute. It was really aesthetically pleasing. But then when I looked at it on the App Store, it had like a ton of good reviews as well. There is a free version of the app, but I decided to make the investment and pay the $9.99 for the full version of the app. And I did that so that I could, kind of see my full financial picture when I was looking at the app. Because I believe the free version, you could only add one of your accounts. When you open up the app, you start out on the home page, which has a summary of your financial picture. So at the very top, the month we're currently in is displayed. And then the top left corner has my balance, which I found out is the sum of all of just the good stuff, pretty much is in the top left-hand corner. It's the sum of all your assets, basically. Okay, and then in the middle is my income so far for the month. And then underneath these three categories is my budget, and it's displayed as the amount left to spend out of my total budget. And this is also displayed visually here with a bar as well. And then below this, my income, my individualized expenses, and then my debt paid during the month and new debt accrued are all kind of broken down underneath that, so you can kind of see them quickly. There's a little triangle in the upper left corner, and that has insights, accounts, and transactions broken up by days. This same information can be accessed from the bottom bar on the app that always remains visible wherever you are in the app. And then in the upper right corner, there's a little circle icon. If you tap that, you'll find the settings, and that's where you can set things like, what day you want to be the first day of your monthly budget. I mean, usually people want it to be on the first, but who knows? And then how much money that you have budgeted for the month, things like that. So from the bottom bar or from the little triangle icon, if you picked insights, it just breaks down your expenses in a couple different ways. There's a list of your expenses, and then it shows kind of a little pie chart too, so you can see what percentage of your expenses, go to what category. So going back to the bar, if you select transactions, you can kind of see your transactions in more detail. And this includes things like, if you're transferring money, say from your debit account to your savings account, or if you're putting money onto, credit cards, paying your bills. It just has more detail, and it's broken up by the days that these transactions occurred. And then lastly, on the bottom bar, there's accounts. So here you can list all your debts and your assets. I've added all of my accounts except for my home mortgage and my house's estimated worth. And at the top, it has my, kind of depressing net worth at the moment. I'm so excited just to get to a zero net worth, as like really depressing as that is. In the bottom right hand corner of the app, there's a little plus sign that follows you, no matter where you are in the app. If you tap that, you can add a transaction or you can add a transfer. So a transaction is, whenever you like go buy groceries or pay utilities, things like that. And then a transfer is, again, if you're putting money into savings from your checking account, or if you're paying a bill. So like when I pay my car payment, I'm transferring money from my checking account onto my Wells Fargo auto loan. So what do I like about the app? Again, I'm not sponsored or anything. This is just my honest review of it. I really like it. Again, it's very pretty and cute to use. I like making the adorable little icons for each expense category. And I really like how specific you can be with your expenses. Using Fleur feels a lot safer than using Mint did, because with Mint, you did have to kind of connect all of your accounts to the app. It was probably totally fine. I mean, I did it in the end, but it just felt kind of sketchy in a way. Putting in all of your passwords and information to all of your financial accounts just to me felt like I shouldn't be doing this. But having said that, connecting all the accounts, it was helpful because, accounts were updated in real time. Your revolving accounts that have interest, those were updated automatically. So you could kind of see your financial picture without as much manual maintenance on your part, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is with Fleur, you really have to do the work. You have to manually input all of your transactions. You have to manually update the balances on your accounts because nothing is, linked to the actual accounts. It's more like almost like a ledger where, you are in charge of writing everything down. And I mean, this does force you to kind of stay on top of your finances in a way. I have to update my transactions every day. And then I also have to update the balances on my account. I do this once a week, just so that they're reflecting, what the real balances are, so that I'm not working with numbers that aren't actually real. So, I mean, if you are someone who likes doing that, or keeping up with your finances that closely, then this app would probably be really good for you. But if you're someone who's like, I really don't have time to update and match up my balances between the real life balance and what's on my app, then, it might not be for you. And then the only other criticism I have of it is like in the budget mode, it does allow you to set a budget, but an entire budget for the month. It doesn't allow you to break down your expenses into categories. That was one thing with Mint that was helpful. Was it allowed you to break down your budget expenses into categories, and as you were getting close to your spending limit, the color would change, so you kind of knew to watch that. With this, it's like I said, just your entire budget for the month. So you kind of have to, again, keep a closer eye on your finances to make sure that within the particular categories in your budget, you're not about to go over budget. But so far I like it. So I hope you enjoyed this video on my updated budget for the rest of 2024 and my review of the budgeting app Fleur. If you're new here, hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm a nurse, a wife, and a mom living just north of Denver, Colorado. I primarily make videos about how my family is getting out of, at this point, nearly $126,000 worth of debt. But I make videos on saving money, budgeting, small space living, intentional living. Again, if you enjoyed your time here, please give me a thumbs up. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.